Well, I gotta say, I'm a little worried about episode 9. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, is directed by Rian Johnson and it stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher. One quick moment of silence for Carrie Fisher. So as it says in the description of this video, I'm just going to talk about how I feel about the movie, not about what happens in the movie, because spoilers suck. Probably after I go see this movie for a second time, I probably will do a spoilers video about it, because there's a lot to talk about in this movie, a lot happens, and I just need to get my thoughts out there. Normally before I do a video, I like to sit down and write out my thoughts and take some notes. I didn't have time to do that, unfortunately, so I'm just going to say what's on the heart. And it'll be okay. So this movie takes place almost immediately after the last movie. It picks up right off from the events where we left off. That's all I'm really going to say about the plot. But then we're starting into a new adventure. Rey is on the island with Luke. Finn is healing from his wounds. Poe is doing his Poe stuff. And all that stuff is really good. We spend a lot of time with our characters before events start ramping up and we get towards the climax of this movie. The movie's not just action scene again and again and again and again. It gives us a lot of room to breathe, and it gives us a lot of time to get to know our characters and get to really love them before things start happening to them. There are a few things with Laura Dern's character that I feel Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia probably could have done, but the way that they did it leads to a certain path, and where they wanted to get to, they kind of had to do it the way they did, so it's not a huge deal. When The Force Awakens came out, a lot of people complained that it's a lot like A New Hope, and there are a lot of similarities, but I would hardly call them the same movie. So if you're going into The Last Jedi thinking, oh, it's just going to be like The Empire Strikes Back, you are very wrong. The Last Jedi is very much its own movie. It's very different from anything we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie, and it's all the better for it. We get a lot of really good space battles in this movie, which is something that we didn't get at all of in The Force Awakens. And this movie has probably one of the best lightsaber combat scenes I've ever seen. When you sit down to watch the movie and you see it, you're gonna be like, that's the one that he's talking about, and it's incredible. I do have to say it is hard to talk about this movie without talking about what happens in this movie, so I'm probably not doing it justice at all. You should all just go see it, and then I'll do a spoilers video, and then I can talk about whatever I want, and then it'll be okay. As far as the performances in this movie go, they're pretty great. I thought Mark Hamill was exceptional in this movie. Him and Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver steal this movie. And not just because the movie's more about them and focuses on those three the most. Adam Driver actually doesn't have a lot of lines in this movie, but there's a lot of physical acting on his face that you can just see what he's going through and feel his struggle and all of the pain that he bears. Whenever a movie can show me something as opposed to telling me something, I always think that that's better. Daisy Ridley is really great in this movie too, and Mark Hamill, his Luke Skywalker in this movie, he's a little saltier than I thought he was going to be, but I still really liked him. The Last Jedi was the last time we'll see Carrie Fisher in a Star Wars movie, and I was a little bit let down because I feel like her character wasn't in it very much, and I would have liked to see a little more of Princess Leia as her final performance, but they told the story that they told, and that didn't include a lot of Princess Leia. So the moments that I got with her, I was happy with, except for one thing. There's one thing that Princess Leia does in the movie that I was just kind of like, But other than that, I liked her a lot more in this movie than I liked her in The Force Awakens. If you thought the Ewoks were so adorable it makes you sick, wait until you see the Porgs. There's a lot of marketing for this movie based just off of the Porgs, and I was like, okay, I'm sick of seeing these Porgs. What is going to happen? Are they going to be any good in the movie? Are they going to annoy me? And no, they were actually pretty good. Because a lot of people compared The Force Awakens to A New Hope, I naturally thought that this movie was going to be a lot darker because of The Empire Strikes Back. And the truth is, this movie is actually not that dark. It does have a lot of lighthearted moments. It does have a lot of good humor. It is an entertaining thing to watch. You're not just watching bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happen. Now granted, yes, the bad things do happen, but they are balanced really well with the lighthearted moments. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'm worried about episode 9, and I'm going to explain it just like this. Do you remember when Batman Begins came out, and you were like, oh yeah, that was good, I really liked that movie. And then The Dark Knight came out, and it was just on a whole nother level, and it was just so much better, and you're like, wow, that was incredible, that was amazing, what kind of a sequel is this? And then The Dark Knight Rises comes out, and it lets you down, not only because it's not as good a movie, but because this is now where the bar has been set, and you're wanting to see something that's at that level or better. This is how I feel about The Last Jedi. I feel it's a huge step up from The Force Awakens, but I feel like when we see episode 9, it's going to be another step down, because how can it be on the same level as this movie? I did say a little earlier, this movie does give you a lot of breathing room to get to know the characters, so a lot of people might think it's a little slow to start off with, but once you get to a certain point. Rey does something in the movie, and then it just cranks it up to 11, and then boom, 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 boom. Things happen all in a row, and they're all amazing. And you don't even think about how the movie was a little slow at the beginning, because now you have these characters that you know and that you care for, and now they're doing things that have an impact. I'm going to say that Star Wars The Last Jedi is Podle approved. Thank you for watching my video. You can give me a subscription if you haven't done so already. And if you have nothing else to do, go watch more Star Wars.